output for OnSSET. Let's see if we can find the scenarios. Okay. So the output here. Let's see, for example, this example for Benin. So these are the output. And you see that for a country like Benin, you have all these files represent an output, so a specific scenario. So for a country like Benin, we have 4 GB of output, and if you open the output, you can see the number of records in each output here, okay? So, and these are the number of clusters that you created at the beginning with this process. So you have to think about that, because every time that you use OnSSET, you're not going to create only one file, but you're going to create one file for each scenario. So you're going to have almost 100 files in output. So if you have if you want to create something that is really accurate in terms of spatial accuracy and resolution, you're gonna at some point probably need a lot of time to let OnSSET run and create your output files, and also you need a lot of storage in your computer to store all the output, because we are talking about several gigabytes of CSV files as output. Okay, so this is why you need to be careful when you prepare this input file, because this input file is the baseline that is going to follow all the steps in the OnSSET process. Okay, so we saw how it's possible to create your own input file by using QuantumGIS. You can do also the same in ArcGIS. This is a tool that we created for ArcGIS that we develop internally. Okay, so it's not in the official release of OnSSET, but I shared the code with you, and it will help you to create the cluster if you prefer to use ArcGIS than QuantumGIS. The same input file, so you have the boundaries, sample Ghana, population here, and the night light raster. Okay, so these are the same 3 input layer. To run the code in ArcGIS for Desktop Pro, you need to go in Analysis, Python, and go in a Python notebook. Okay, the Python notebook is going to create the Jupyter environment, so you can copy and paste the code that was shared with you. And you need to change some parameters if you want to run this code, that are the here. Okay, as the same parameter of the QuantumJS plugin. So the boundaries is the location of your shapefile of the boundary of your country. Night light is the clipped raster that represent the night lights in your country. Population is the population raster with the population in your country. The threshold is the same as the threshold in the QuantumJS plugin. And then the output, where do you want to store the shapefile that represent the population cluster. Okay, so let's see what to get here. At the end, same thing. You get population cluster, and you get cluster where each polygon represent a cluster of population of your country. Okay, here all the you see that the cluster are rather big, so basically all the continuous polygons were merged together, and we prefer to have we prefer to do that, to run a test at least to see if you can get some results that are significant, and then you can refine and make it some clusters that are more they have a better or more accurate spatial resolution. Okay, so to run this notebook, just you change your parameters and you click play, and you should get the output here that then is loaded here in ArcGIS. Again, if you have a very big county and a very high spatial resolution, you're gonna have a big file at the end, and this big file is gonna be your input for OnSSET. So you're gonna be prepared to have to dedicate some computer hardware resources to run OnSSET if you have something with a very high spatial resolution. Okay, so this is how you can get the population cluster that you need to run OnSSET if you want to create them by your own. But we have also other options that are easier for most of us. That is utilized to download clusters that are already prepackaged for our purpose. If you go to this website here, for example, you can find a series of clusters for some countries that are already prepared for our purpose. So you know that in this website you can find different cluster of population that are updated to 2020, and you have also the previous version here. So if you want to test OnSSET without creating your population cluster, you can select your country if you can find it here, and you can download the population. Okay. Another important source of data for this one, for OnSSET, and also for running OnSSET, is this global electrification platform. We're gonna see this platform again when we need to use OnSSET, because we will learn that it's possible to use directly this platform to run OnSSET instead of using our computer. But for now, we use this platform just as a source of data that we can use for OnSSET. So start exploring. You can see a list of countries. We are working with Ghana, so you select Ghana here. You have two versions. You can select the Ghana OnSSET version 2, and this is the interface that we will use also to run and develop a scenario with OnSSET. But what you can find here also on the bottom right is a button download. In download, you can download the PDF report and source data. So if you go to source data, it's taking you to another website. In this website, there are some input data that you can download and use to run OnSSET on your computer. Okay, so you create an account, you log into your account, and then the data that we need is this settlement cluster dataset. Okay, so after you register and you log in, you can download here the settlement cluster database that basically is the population cluster. In this case, you see that we selected Ghana. We can click to download. It's telling you that it could be very large because the spatial resolution selected for this cluster is very high. So you can click continue. And let's see, I downloaded already. So let's have a look at this file for, let's go in QuantumGIS and see where I downloaded. I think in the sample population, Ghana here, yeah. This is the final cluster for Ghana. Size into layer. Let's see what they get. You can see that in terms of number of polygon, we have some large polygon here in the big cities in a similar way of the one you see created by our tool here. You can see a big cluster here in Accra, and the same thing or a similar thing in the one created by the JEP platform here. But you can see here that they decided probably manually to cut this polygon in different areas. And also you can see that you have a lot of small polygons to describe other populated area in Ghana. So if you open this attribute table, you can see that you have the features of these of the clusters here. Okay, so if you can find these files that are already available, of course you can and you should use them, right? Because it's gonna give you more time and less work to prepare the input data. Now for the next step, we're gonna learn how to utilize all the JS software and collect the other special data we need to prepare the input dataset for OnSSET. Okay, so for now we installed the OnSSET on our machine, and we were able to create or to find some population cluster as a polygon that we can use for our purpose. We downloaded also a couple of layers that we need for the next step, that are the boundaries, the night light, and the population raster. Now the next step will be to collect all the other data that we need to run OnSSET, the special data that we need to create and complete the input file before running the Python code of OnSSET. In particular, we have the population, we have the population clusters, we have the administered boundaries. We need to download or to find or to retrieve the electric network, so medium and high lines, substation and transformer, if you can find them, road network, solar potential, hydropower, power plants, wind speed, land cover, night lights we already have, elevation, slope, so 3D data, and another one that is called travel time. Okay, so I'm going to show you in the next video how we can prepare Quantum.js and ArcGIS with all the input data that we need to prepare the last file that is going to be the input for the Python version of OnSSET. So thank you, and see you in the next video.